Hi everyone. We thought we'd tell you a little bit about aging in pets. Cats and puppies, or kittens I should say too, are very similar in aging. It can be difficult to age a pet sometimes by their size, because obviously, especially in dogs, because puppies can be so different. When you get a cat this size, some cats full grown are this size, so it can be hard to tell. So we're kind of limited on that. When it comes to the shelter, oftentimes we're asked, well, what age do you think it is? So we put an age down, so when you adopt a pet, you know what age they are. It can be difficult, just so you know. So when you do adopt a pet from us, if there's an age down there, it may not be set in stone. But one thing we can do with younger cats is we can look at their teeth. And this cat is a good example of a cat that has some changes going on in his teeth that help us age it. If you look here at the teeth right here, I don't have anything good to point with. Let me see if I can find something here. I can just use a little tip of a pen even. If we look right here at these teeth here, this is a baby tooth, or what we call a deciduous tooth. And you can see next to it, there's a bigger tooth coming in now, right there. And those are what we call the canine teeth, or some people call the fang teeth. So when you start seeing those teeth come in, they're usually about 5.5, 6 months old. If you look up here, these are example of adult teeth also. Those incisors are adult teeth. They're a little bit bigger. And you can see, when we see that compared to a kitten, you'll be able to tell the difference. I'll show you another one later here. Those come in at about 4 months. So when cats have their teeth come in, they get all their kitten teeth as a kitten, and same with puppies. Then at about 4 months, their incisors start coming in, so look for those first. And then these side teeth come in at about 5 months, and then the canines don't come in until about 6 months. So I can give you an idea on how we're aging. So on this cat, since we're just starting to see the canines come in, we're probably sitting at around 5.5 months. Okay, we'll try to show you another one here in another adult cats. It can be tricky. And this cat is got all adult teeth. So these are the big canines we were talking about. Remember we talked about those incisors on the top? Those come in at about 4 months. You can see how big they are. And then these are large canines. They start coming in at about 6 months. So with all adult teeth, if you look back, there's not a lot of tartar. There's not a lot of wear. So typically, just some mild tartar back here, the yellow. At this point, that's usually around 2-3 years of age. So when you get a cat that looks like that, you can kind of guess on the age. But once they get all their adult teeth, it can be a little tricky. I've seen cats that are 7 years old that have teeth this healthy looking, and I've also seen cats 2-year-olds that have like infections and abscesses already with heavy tartar. So it's not set in stone, but this is just an example of an adult cat's teeth. So we can compare that when we do a kitten. We'll look at a kitten. This one is another example of a cat that's got its adult incisors, upper teeth, and then these canines are coming in there. So, and we have just a little baby tooth here. So this is, again, remember the canines come in at about, whoops, she says, I'm not going to cooperate. Remember the canine teeth come in at about 5.5, 6 months. So we're probably sitting at 6 months with this one. So that gives you an idea about aging. If you look here, that is actually a baby molar still. So that'll probably fall out here in the next few weeks too. So another example of about a 6 month. So this is an example of a litter we got, and you can see we have different ages. Some of them have a little cold too. And then we got this one here. And then the last one I did, which was like 6 months, came into this group too. But when we look at the teeth, you think, oh, they must be from the same litter. When we look at the teeth of this one, you can see now these are the adult incisors, but these are still baby canine teeth. See how they're much more pointed and sharper than the last cat? And so this cat gets those adult incisors at about 4 months, and we don't have these teeth coming in yet, or the molars. So we're probably just a little bit over 4 months here versus 6 months for the last one. So she says, what are you doing to me? But that gives you an example there of the adult incisors with the deciduous or baby canine teeth still, so about 4 months. Remember we showed you those cats in the kennel, and this was one of them, and they all came together. So this is an example of when cats are together, they're not always from the same litter. So the other one of those cats in that was a 6-month-old, as you remember, had all the adult teeth, and then we found the 4-month-old that had the adult incisors. So this is an example of a kitten, and you can see how small those upper incisors are. So those are still baby incisors. See how tiny they are? There's little tiny stubs compared to the last one we showed you. And then we got this baby canine teeth. So that makes it difficult. So we know we're not 4 months old. And so sizing can be a little difficult because depending on how they were fed and stuff. But based on size, I'm guessing this one is about 8 weeks old. So it's hard to say. So what you can do if you get a kitten like this is you can wait till they get a little bit older, keep checking the teeth. And then when you see those incisors coming in on the top, you can say, now we're 16 weeks or 4 months old. So then you can backtrack and figure out when their birthday was. So that makes it easy. But we see this a lot where we get litters in and there's different kittens in it. So I think what happens sometimes is there's multiple litters are born and the kittens migrate together even though they're different ages, and they end up being a big group. And then people rescue them and bring them in, and we find out we have multiple different litters in one group. So there we go. She's up for adoption. Hi everyone. So this is Sahara, and Sahara is a stray that came in. We're pretty sure she's pregnant. And this is where it gets tough when we get these strays in, is trying to age them. So remember we were talking about kittens. So this is a dog, and you can see her with her teeth. She's got missing a lot of incisors. She's got chipped, fractured teeth here. The most common reason for that would be being in a kennel and biting on the kennel bars and stuff. And so she's got fractured teeth with a lot of wear. She doesn't have a lot of tartar. So, but this tooth here is fractured too a little bit here. So she could actually possibly use some dental x-rays to see if we have any infections or anything going on. But there's not a lot of tartar. So based on that, I'm guessing she's probably a middle-aged to young dog. So we're thinking, you know, 3 to 5 years old. But again, with the fractured teeth and everything, it can be very difficult. So another example of a dog we get in that we have to put an age down for, then when they go out the door, we tell you an age, but it's just a guess. So always remember that ages on some of these middle-aged dogs are kind of a guess to try to figure where things are at. I think she was probably kenneled at one point, and that's how she broke all her teeth, chewing on bars or something like that. Like when they chew on the bars of a kennel, they can sometimes fracture the teeth like that. So we'll kind of try to do some other dogs and try to show you some aging possibilities there too. I would say she's not ancient. She's probably not 8 years old or anything like that, but she could be anywhere from 2 all the way up to 7 years old. So it makes it difficult.
Would those teeth need to be removed?
In some cases, yes. So these teeth look stable, and you can see how they're worn off and flattened, smooth. So depending on how much she broke off when she wore them, how quick it happened, they can get an infection up here. The only good way to tell on this is to have her sedated and do what's called dental cleaning, and then we go in and we do dental x-rays. And when you do dental x-rays, you evaluate the root structure of the tooth to see if their teeth are infected or if there's any sign of abscess. In some cases, you can't even do root canals in dogs, but that's not done too often. But that would be an option for somebody that could do it. So another example of adult teeth in a dog. However, his teeth are younger looking. He does have a little bit of tartar starting right there. You can see there, but you can see how nice and white and shiny his teeth are. Ooh, looking at that pretty. And even back here, you want to look back here. And you can see a tiny bit of tartar starting here. So my guess is he's probably around 1.5 to 3 years old based on this. He doesn't have a lot of heavy tartar. His gums look good, and you can see that. But this is another good example of adult dog teeth. If they were all pearly white with no tartar, he'd probably be around 8 months all the way up to like a year old. So that's kind of how we can kind of guess when they're younger dogs. Once they start getting past this age, though, it gets very difficult to age adult dogs. So, but anyway, just another example of how we try to age dogs here. And we'll hopefully get a puppy for you too. We can show you that. All right. So this is a puppy. So we wanted to show you puppy's teeth. And just like in cats, puppies' teeth are all deciduous or baby teeth that first come in, and they stay in there until they're about 4 months old, and that's when you'll see the incisors. Oh, he may not cooperate. Let's see if he'll show the mouth. This is one thing when you have a puppy, they get nervous with their mouth and ears and feet. So always take time to play with their mouth and praise them when they let you do it. But if you look here, these are baby teeth right here. Oh, he says, I'm not going to hold still. Ellie, here, want a treat? No, maybe. Okay. It's hard to tell because he's wiggly. But you see there, those are deciduous or baby teeth. See how they're more pointed and they're small instead of filling the whole gap? There's more space in between them. So those are the deciduous. Now remember, these top teeth here are the first teeth to fall out. Those 2 in the center will come in at about 4 months or 16 weeks. And then these sharp canine teeth, you'll get a new adult teeth at about 6 months. So the L-ray is definitely under 4 months. So you can say that for sure. But it makes it hard on puppies because there's so many different sizes, especially when we get the mixed breeds in, knowing for sure how old he is. But he looks mature, stuff like that. I'm guessing he's probably around 12 weeks or so. So we're kind of guess at an age when they're at this point. And then we watch, and when we see these 2 teeth come in, and we know, oh, they're 4 months old at that point. So, all right. So this is an example of Shadow is an example of a dog that's just starting to get all the adult teeth in. You can see the canines here are pretty short yet. They're just coming through. And the baby canines are already gone. If you look back, it's going to be hard to see this in the video, but if you look right here, you can actually see a baby tooth next to the adult tooth. It's hard to see, but there's one right there. And then on this side too, again, there's the canine. You can see the canine's actually shorter than the incisor, so it's just coming through. So it's just what we call erupting. And when you see that with all adult teeth here, you know you're right about 6 months. Remember we talked about that, how the canine teeth, the big fang teeth, come in about 5.5, 6 months. So that's true in dogs too, just like cats. Shadow's got a little bit of crowding and a little bit of an underbite. And that's common because I think we got a little bit of bulldog in there. So we think it's a bulldog mix. So that's kind of what we got going there. Otherwise, we look good. See nice pearly white teeth. You can see a little redness where the teeth are coming through the gums. So you can tell that they're just starting to erupt, all the adult teeth on the canines and the molars. So again, right around 6 months. So Shadow's about 6 months old. Okay, so this is Dwayne. This is another dog we got in that we didn't know the age on. But obviously when you look at him, even from just general stand, you can see he's got some old growths. So he's starting to look a little bit older just from these growths. And most of these are benign type growths, but still, most dogs don't get them until they're older. And just like in people, if you look closely at his eyes, he can't tell much in his eyes, but sometimes in older dogs too, you'll start getting a little more cloudiness in the center of the eye, the lens. And that's like getting older. It's kind of like me needing my reading glasses. And dogs, when their lenses get a little stiffer and tighter, they start to show up as a tiny bit of a cloudiness. That can sometimes be cataracts, but in most cases, it's called lenticular sclerosis, which is an aging change. So that's one way to tell. Most dogs start to get that pretty heavy at about, 8, 9 years of age. We don't have it real heavy yet. So then what we do is we look at the teeth, and you can see here, we got pretty healthy looking incisors, but as we come around the corner, you can see we got tartar, some gum recession. Back here, we got even heavier tartar. So this indicates that we are getting a little bit older. So my guess is on this dog is that we're probably around 8, maybe even 10 years old, based on that. Now, if the eyes were more cloudy in the center and getting really old looking, then we start saying we're probably 12 or above. So kind of based on those features, we kind of look and try to age dogs. But again, it can be very difficult. There are some young dogs, even 5, 6-year-old dogs, that can have this heavy a tartar. So we can't just predict it 100%, but it gives us a clue. So that's how we age this dog. So I would say this dog is somewhere probably between 8 and 10.